Hi, welcome to YTV and this week's segment of Everybody Has a Story. For our first student segment of the year, we're joined by Olivia Pavco-Giaccia, a junior in Jonathan Edwards College, who is the founder of the startup LabCandy, which helps young girls get involved in science and STEM fields by offering them stylish and fun lab gear. Olivia, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, you're sitting in a Stanford neurobiology lab, you're in high school, and you're on this blog that you've created called LabCandy, talking to young girls about science. And what happens exactly?
Well, one day I was writing up a post on lab safety, and I thought it would be kind of fun to put a photo of some bedazzled lab goggles up on the site. So put it up as my thumbnail photo, didn't really think anything of it. And the next day I had comments from little girls all over the country asking me, where did you get those goggles? Where can I buy them? That was the moment where I realized that I had stumbled across something that really resonated with young girls.
And when you were growing up, did you have a lot of female icons in science? What was a scientist to you?
Well, when I was a young girl, the age that we are making these products for, I did not consider myself a scientist. Neither of my parents were scientists, and it just kind of seemed like a scary and intimidating thing for me. But then I got really lucky, and I actually had two wonderful female science teachers right in a row, 7th and 8th grade and then in high school. And they had a big influence on my life. They encouraged me to kind of pursue my passion, so I got really lucky.
Now you have the goggles here. Are these the ones from the blog?
No.
That first inspired? Okay.
No, they're not. These are an example of the goggles that we sell. They're the adult version. So actually, Cody, if you want to put them on, model them.
Okay.
These are the adult
version. Am I going to break the strap?
No.
Okay.
No. The ones that we sell are for younger girls, so they're a little
These
bit
are LabCandy goggles. What do you think?
I think you look fabulous.
Are you going to put a picture of this on your site?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, alright. Okay, now I know goggles are not the only feature now. You moved on from having just goggles. What are some of the other products?
Right, so when I first entered the Yale Entrepreneurial Institute Summer Fellowship Program, which I did after my freshman year, my mentors really encouraged me to go out and talk to people. So I did. I went out and spoke with over 200 girls, parents, grandparents, teachers, and scientists. And what I realized was goggles are a good start, but they're not the complete story. I wasn't just building sparkly plastic goggles, I was building characters who girls could relate to. So we kind of built the product up a bit. It comes with kind of a DIY goggle kit, a lab coat, and a workbook / storybook. So there's a character in the story, she goes on an adventure, runs into some wacky problem, and then solves it using science. And in the back of the book, there's a recipe card, so little girls can recreate the experiment in their own home, try writing out their own hypotheses, record their own observations, and yeah, so the product is a much kind of more complete picture now.
Now, you're certainly challenging the stereotype about women not being involved in science. Women only occupy 25% of STEM jobs. But you're also staying away from the stereotype of just one personality for a girl, because I know you have more than just one character in these storybooks to appeal to different personalities.
Yeah, so right now we are working on one character. Her name is Ava. She loves chemistry. But the goal would be to develop a kind of group of characters, each of whom kind of a different area of science that they're interested in. The idea behind LabCandy isn't to pigeonhole girls. The idea behind LabCandy is that no matter who you are, what you look like, if you're passionate about STEM, then you are what a scientist looks like.
Now you have one of the lab coats. You can hold that up for a second.
Yes.
This is pretty cool.
This is our adult version, I should say.
Okay.
So, like I said, this is for young girls, aged kindergarten through 3rd grade.
Okay.
So they would have something that's a bit smaller than this. But
Oh wow, the buttons are.
the buttons are a lot, yeah.
The buttons are nice. So who designs these? Are you the sole designer, or are you working with anyone on this?
So when we were first kind of conceptualizing the pattern for the coat, I worked with a local seamstress friend. And we went through a couple of iterations, brought them to girls, tested out what they liked and what they didn't like. And now, thanks to our Kickstarter campaign, we're actually manufacturing these coats. It's great, I don't have to hand sew them anymore. We're working with the factory out in Minnesota.
Well, you mentioned the Kickstarter campaign, which you raised $20,000 in 3 days, which is quite a feat. But you've become involved, whether it's Kickstarter, the Yale Entrepreneurial Institute. Are you going to, go into maybe science fields, and LabCandy is the one entrepreneurial venture that you'll have, or do you actually want to go into entrepreneurship?
I love LabCandy, and I really hope that this is something that I can pursue, if not for the rest of my life, for a very long time. So I hope that I can kind of grow with the company. I never pictured myself as an entrepreneur. I kind of fell into it with the blog and the response I got from girls. But I didn't come to Yale thinking I was an entrepreneur. I made an appointment at the Institute, and my mentors there were the ones who kind of encouraged me to apply to the fellowship. So it was very much an accidental process. But going forward, yeah, it's something I think I would like to pursue.
And for young girls and parents of young girls, where can they find these products?
So we just sold a big batch on Kickstarter. Our Kickstarter campaign closed recently, and now we're working on getting them up on our website. So you can check us out at www.labcandy.com.
Olivia, Pavco-Giaccia, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us as always. I'm Cody Pomerantz for YTV. See you next time, and get those goggles.